So to give you guys some context, and ladies, of course, this is the first time we've done a panel here at Give It All. It was actually after the last event. I kind of didn't want to come back. I was like, I was just having one of those days, and Louise was like, you got to come back. And I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. And out of the blue, she goes, what if we did a panel or something like that? And it planted a seed in my mind that I was like, this is going to be fucking great. Who are we going to bring? And I get to bring back my favorite headline speakers of the past. Tristan, Sarah, and Francois, they've all spoken here on this stage previously. Francois, in fact, has spoken headlined in Medellin before, and he has the special title. Not many people know this. Francois was the one that inspired Give It All the way back at the very beginning. He hosted an event in Medellin called Pitch It. I wanted to go along to it, but I messaged him. He said, I stopped doing that a year ago. Francois was like, if you want it, go and create it. I was like, fuck. But he gave me this format. So can we give it up for Francois? Thank you.
You're really so much better.
Thank you. So I asked these three if they'd like to come and join for a panel, and they all said sure and didn't ask me even what it was going to be about. They've got no real context of what we're going to be speaking here tonight. The topic that I want to bring is, what does it take to become an attractive person? And none of these three are professionals in the space by any means. But I select them all for a reason. One, because I really loved what it is that they bring to the world, what it is that they brought from the stage. But two, I see them as attractive people in their own rights. So I'm going to pass it over. I'm going to ask this question to all three of you. You can start, Sarah. What does it mean to you to be an attractive person, or in your case, an attractive woman? And why do you think it is that I specifically invited you here this evening?
I think being attractive for me 5 years ago would have been looking a certain way, being a certain way, showing the rest of the world that I am who they want me to be. And for anyone that doesn't know me, all of my work is rooted in women's mindset and body image. So the talk earlier about eating disorders and finding your self-worth really resonated with me. And through that journey, I've really transformed my definition of attractiveness. I think being attractive is not so much about getting others' approval anymore as it is about bringing the people I want to be close to me, and giving them the green light to do that. I think that me knowing you and your partner Louisa and Francois actually, and anybody else that I've met when I first met you, which was I gave a talk at Brotherhood, that's a really good example of me being attractive. To me, being attractive is being my authentic self and knowing what I'm good at and sharing what I'm struggling with and what I'm not perfect at and what I want to learn and where I want to grow and asking for help. And something I'm really good at is making content. And I was open about that. And it landed me in a room at Brotherhood telling 18 dudes I'd never met, one of them I'd met, 17 dudes I'd never met, how to make Instagram content, and all of them looking at me like, who is this chick? And that's where I met you. That's why I'm here. I've met so many amazing friends, connections. My business is growing in a way I didn't know it could, all because I attracted the right people into my life. And so being attractive to me now, whether it's in dating or in business or in friendships, which I think are some of the most important things we do on this planet, is how we relate to others, is being who I truly am. So to answer your question of why I think you invited me here, I think that a huge part of who I am and who I strive to be is not the perfect person like I used to, but the most honest version of myself, and really dropping into who that is moment to moment, because that person is always changing. And when we're able to do that, it's such a cliche saying, but it's like your vibe attracts your tribe. They should put that on a t-shirt if they haven't already. I'm sure they have, but it's really true. Like when I am most honestly myself, I attract the opportunities, the people, the mindset within myself that I want to have. But when I'm not, I attract the worst. Attract the worst things. Oh, yes. So yeah, being attractive to me is being who you are and trusting that there's so many people who will appreciate that. And also there's a lot of people just like you out there. I think it feels lonely sometimes, but there are people that are either like us or that complement us really well, and we just have to be ourselves so we can end up in the same room as them.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'll just respond to that. Absolutely, that's what it was. I remember coming back from that session. Ryan, shout out to Ryan for organizing that at the Brotherhood, the only woman in the room full of brothers. And Sarah, it was like you could speak to our avatars and have no idea who it is that we served, because you're speaking to us with your raw, honest vulnerability. I remember going back and saying to Louisa, I didn't know who this girl was when she walked in, but after we walked out, she was really attractive. And Louise was like, you saw another girl, she's attractive? And I was like, yeah, in the way that she showed up. And so thank you for sharing that. It was really beautiful. Same question for you.
Yeah. I'm going to bounce on one word that you said. You said the word tribe. And I think at a very primal level, our brain is constantly scanning for two things, right? For is it safe, is it dangerous? We keep looking at the environment to think, is going to help us thrive, or is it going to be a problem for us? And that's the same for people. And so attraction is very important because it's a survival signal. And it means that we can be selected. If we're selected, we are part of a group. We have more opportunity, we have mating opportunity, we have more food, we have everything. At the contrary, if we were not selected in the past, historically it's being related to death. If we're alone, we're not part of the tribe, and then we die. And so attraction is super, super important because that's how it helped us survive as human. Now, what's really interesting, actually I want to ask you guys, could you all close your eyes for just 1 second? I'm not going to ask you to take a deep breath or whatever. Just close your eyes. And there's about like 60, maybe 80 people in the room. How many faces can you remember? All right? You can open your eyes. Just look around. And as you look around, think about this. You put all people here in 4 different categories. Friend, like ally, enemy, indifferent, and potential sexual partner. So many people, you maybe put too many people in the last category, but in general, we're going to put each person in one of those. And if you don't remember a lot of people in the room, it's because most of them are falling into indifferent. And so attraction really matters. Attraction is really important because it helps us to find a group and help us thrive in life. And why you asked me to be here, I think a lot of people are teaching how to be attractive by trying to perform the different signals. But performance is seen by the brain as fakery, and our brain really worked out really hard over the thousands of years to figure out what is real and not real. And so performed confidence usually reads like anxiety to feel confident, etc. So we can detect what is performance, and we naturally want to gravitate around people who are just real. And I do believe that's maybe one of the reasons that you were asking me to be here. I don't think I really perform things in my life, but I did build something that I'm really proud of and feeling like I'm really living a life I love. And in itself, that can create attraction.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Absolutely, that's a big part of it. Big part of it. I love how it is, that how real you are and the way that you show up. For me, I think the most attractive character that I see within you is going out and following through on just doing hard shit. It's the same reason why I'm so attracted to Louisa. When I first met her, and I tell her this all the time, is wanting to show up to do hard things, seeking discomfort, sitting with that. And I see the way that you live your life. For anyone that doesn't know Francois, he's an ultimate adventurer. He's a survivor. To go through like the little girl that you rescued up the tree after the tsunami, the earthquake tsunami. That story just touched my heart. It's so incredible. But I think why it's so attractive is because you're the kind of person that if shit's going wrong, you're going to be there. You're dependable. You're trustworthy. And that's fucking attractive. Because like, how many people do you have in your life that you can really depend on? I think it's quite rare. It's quite rare. And so to have developed those traits and not just developed them, but have really demonstrated them consistently, very attractive to me. Thank you.
Same question to me.
Same question.
Hello. Good to see everybody here. Happy to have everybody here. To me, what makes a person attracted, there's two different sides to it. You have the internal and the external. The internal being that you're excited to see who you are in the mirror. You like yourself. You have a feeling of admiration for yourself and the path that you're on. When you hold that flame internally, you experience a reflection of it externally. So when you like yourself, other people are more inclined to like you. So that's internal value. And then speaking on more of a biological sense, external value, attraction. I keep switching up the word attraction with value. It comes down to value. Does this person provide value to the situation? And value has thousands of different forms. It could be a joke, it could be a warm smile, it could be money, it could be resources, whatever it is. When somebody brings value to the table, that is an attractive measure because that means longevity, as we were speaking in the biological sense. So if you're looking for internal attraction, do things that make you attracted to yourself. Take yourself on a date, go to the gym, read a book, meditate, journal. Do things that would put yourself in a higher regard inside the temple of you. And then externally, provide more value. Listening and remembering people's names and connecting on an emotional level, eye contact, these are all amazing forms of value. And if you continue to provide them over and over and over again, you become a valuable or attractive person. If somebody says a joke one time, that's a funny joke. If they say a joke 2 times, those are 2 funny jokes. But when you say it a 3rd time, it's no longer funny jokes. It's that person is funny. So if you continue to be attractive, if you continue to provide value, it's no longer than individual things. It's you being the person that provides that attraction and that value.
And why are you here?
Why did you invite me? Because you knew I'd say yes.
It's slow, man. There's so much more than that.
No, there's a chemistry that happens, and there's a dependability and a reliability that happens, especially as you're an organizer of an event, and I can empathize with you. It's a lot to put on your shoulders, and when you want to put somebody up into the batter's box that you know can at least get on base, it means a lot to take the weight off. And then also, I think it comes down to dependability and then the value. Providing a value, providing a certain connectivity to the audience, and personability and personal connection that we have between us. So other than that, I'm pretty good on a microphone. So
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Do you know what it was? Yeah, let's give it up for Tristan. We went on a motorbike trip together, and so for those of you that don't know Tristan, he is the king of cold approach. And so a lot of people might just assume that he's the pickup artist for getting guys laid or whatever. What I found with Tristan, we went on a motorbike trip, he wasn't just picking up ladies, he was starting conversations with everyone, the little Ibu, the lady behind the counter, the guy, the dog, he was friends with everyone. And I was like, man, this guy. And like there was something drawn within me to go, I want to be around this guy because people want to be around him. What is it that they're seeing in him? I want that too. And there's something super attractive about that for me. And I can see why you're so passionate in the job that you do and the way that you really help people. So thank you, man.
thank you.
Thank you, brother. You know, one of the things that really stood out to me out of all your answers, and especially what you just mentioned and referred to there, Tristan, is none of you talked about attraction as being looks. You know, like being a certain...
We're not struggling there, so...
We're not struggling.
We don't have anything to say.
But like, you didn't talk about body shape. You didn't talk about looks. You didn't talk about any physical appearances, which I think there is a lot of underlying conditioning that we think attraction is these ways of externally promoting ourselves or displaying ourselves, but you all reflected on it being some kind of attribute. I'll go further than that. What I heard was an attribute that has been cultivated and developed over time. Like example of telling a joke, becoming the funny person, they're unfakeable skills. And this is what it takes to become more of an attractive person. So, Sarah, you're holding the microphone, and your time of being helping women with body, what is it? Image coaching?
Body image, yeah.
Yeah.
So whether that's
So what?
body neutrality for them, not caring so much, or body confidence, really feeling empowered in their appearance. Yeah, everything.
Yeah. So what have you learned through coaching women through body image
Yeah.
about becoming and helping them to see themselves as more attractive?
Yeah. So it's been almost 6 years of doing that full time. I've had in like private clients and groups, I've had hundreds in bigger communities that I've hosted, workshops, retreats, everything. And online communities, I've had thousands. And then I've talked to tens of thousands of women through the years, and a lot of men as well, actually, online, on social media as well. So I've heard from so many people on this. And I could talk about it for hours, but what I'll say to start is most every individual comes in with their story of why they are not attractive. And it is so often rooted in the physical, as that is the niche that I work in. And through my experience, kind of being the one on the other side, speaking to each of them individually, and then making up this mosaic of people who want to feel attractive. The body image is always the surface. I've had clients from so many different countries, so many different ages. I've had 14-year-olds and I've had 75-year-olds. I've had men, I've had women, I've had people from everywhere, all walks of life, all body sizes, all levels of attractiveness as far as like stereotypical beauty standards these days. And it all comes back to the same feelings of just wanting to be wanted and wanting to be enough. And that wanting to be enough is something that we all share. Like everybody has that, whether we'll admit it or not. We all want to be chosen by our loved ones, our partners, our parents, our closest friends, that horrible ex that we don't understand why we ever dated that person, but like, why can't we let go of them? We all just want to be wanted. And so in terms of feeling attractive, I think that one of the things that comes back to is kind of what Tristan said as well, like really liking who you are. When I was in the bathroom before, somebody asked me a question and they were like, you get a lot of horrible comments on the internet. How do you deal with it? And one of the things I said was, I really know who I am before anybody else has an opinion on it. And I really like who I am. And I sit with the things that I don't love about myself before I share them on a space like social media. And so I know what I see in myself as good enough, as beautiful, as attractive. And I think that when you have that inside of you, like Tristan said as well, you really radiate it outwards. So I would almost unite the two pieces he put. They're kind of like a cycle. It's not that you have to have one to have the other, but they feed each other. And so what I would teach with a lot of the women I work with is fuck everybody else. Like focus on liking who you are and accepting who you are, even if you don't love those pieces. And in that process, you attract the right people for you. A lot of it is unconditioning of like all the shit you think that you're supposed to look like and care about and want, and healing our attachment styles and all of that in the process. But really, I think the core is liking who you are, and at least just acknowledging, even if you don't love every part of it, that you're a human at the end of the day, and everybody has that.
I love that. Thank you so much. That really resonates with me, and the whole idea of being the demonstration of what we want to see in the world. This is one of the key things I keep learning here at Give It All, is the more I put the values that I love and I cherish and the attributes within myself out on display, the more the right people show up. You people show up into that space and then come and tell me how much you love it. And it took many years for me to realize that, develop it, have the courage to go and do that. But now it's so heartwarming that I get to share this space with all of you in those values and those attributes. And I think that's what I also see in you and the way that you do it, because you really truly love who it is that you are and the way you're showing up. Thank you.
And I love the parts of myself that I fucking hate as well. Like those parts too, I give them love, even if I'm not the biggest fan of them, if that makes sense. Because we all have those pieces.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Can we give it up to Sarah? Let's go over to Christy. So similar question for yourself. When I bump into you down at the beach with your mentees or coachees, men going and learning this art, science, whatever you call it, of cold approach. When you're with these guys that are learning to step into that confidence and to go and initiate a conversation, what's the transformation that you see within them when it comes to seeing their traction within themselves?
So a lot of guys are not that bad at talking to women. They just don't talk to women. So there's a story of the elephant. When the elephant is a baby, they chain it up with a wrought iron chain and prevent it from getting away from the stake. When the elephant turns into a teenager, they use a rope. And because of the conditioning, the elephant doesn't try and pull away. And when the elephant is a full-blown adult, they take that rope and they use a piece of string, so easily broken by the elephant, but has been programmed and trained for its entire life, that cannot get away from the stake in the ground. And what I see with a lot of men is that they have pre-existing adjacent abilities. They've done sales, they've done business building, they've done networking. And when their identity is in a professional zone, they can go ahead and walk into conversation, shake hands, make eye contact. But when it comes to a romantic zone, they have a complete identity shift, and it goes back to that childlike elephant where they don't know what it is that they're doing. So when I work with men and they're able to go ahead and realize, oh, snap, I can talk to women. This isn't as hard as I thought it was. And just pushing them into the deep end of the water, they soon learn to swim really quickly. And a lot of my clients say that it's pre-Bali and post-Bali, because when you can walk into a room and say hello to a beautiful girl or the lady behind the cash register or a handsome guy like Daniel standing across the room and have a confident conversation, the amount of doors that open up are infinite. So that's the type of transformation I see with the men that I work with.
Would you see that as just a learned confidence? Is it an ability? Is it a trust in the attraction for themselves? What is the transformation that you're pointing at there?
So it's confidence that you're going to be able to make it to the other side. A lot of men, as a man, as an entrepreneur, as a human being today, you have to deal with a lot of uncertainty. And I think everybody in this room, being here in Bali, who here was born in Indonesia? You had to face some, hey, good to see you. Thank you so much for being the Lone Ranger here. But everybody that was not born in this room had to come across a level of uncertainty coming to this new place, seeing this new world. And a lot of people choose not to do that. About 50% of the United States never gets a passport. And then on top of that, another 20% never use the passport that they go ahead and buy. So about 70% of the United States never leave the United States. And what does that point to? It's a fear that they're not going to be able to figure it out once it is that they get there. And when men are put into situations where they don't know if they're going to get to the other side, and they push through and they're able to find the confidence internally to make it to the other side, that's the transformation. It's, okay, I know that I don't know this, but I know that I've had pre-existing data that points to me being able to accomplish this. And once you can start back testing other stuff, then it becomes a game. Then it's no longer, am I going to die if I approach this girl? It's, okay, I'm scared, but I've done so many other hard things in my life. Let me now do this other hard thing and then push through. And of course, they're going to get rejected. Of course, they're going to get shut down. Of course, there's going to be so many things that happen that they cannot predict, but that comes into the life of living a free life, dealing with uncertainty at the end of the day. And I think everybody here can deal with uncertainty. You, uncertain if people are going to show up. You, uncertain if there's going to be hate comments on, well, you're pretty certain that there's going to be hate.
Not sure what they'll say.
Yeah, not sure what they'll say. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, maybe it's, it doesn't matter. So coming to face with that uncertainty is, I think, just a beautiful thing. And you can then ask yourself the question, okay, well, if I know I can get through this, what else can I get through?
Thank you. Thank you. We'll go across to Francois. I think that ties into a lot of the work that you do and a lot of your beliefs. The book that most of the way through now, what is it? Strong Men Don't Happen by Accident.
Yeah.
Fantastic book. I think I'd recommend it to any of the men here that want a book on what it means to be a modern man, masculinity in a modern sense. Francois acknowledges how hard it is to define that. I don't think there's any necessarily new messages in that, much like this event, right? Not any new messages, but the way that you articulate it is beautiful. It comes up with the different attributes and the characteristics of what masculinity in today's age is made of.
Yeah.
Why is this so important in your thoughts when it comes to attractiveness as a man?
Attractiveness is a side effect. I think too many people try to get it as the goal, but it's not how you get attractive. It's the side effect of building yourself. And you mentioned the word attributes a few times, and yes, a few that came to mind now is competence, vitality, autonomy, coherence. A competence, is that person an asset or a liability? We want to be with people who are going to help us thrive, right? Vitality, you want to be with someone like friends, partner, romantic or business or whatever, that is full of life, that is happy, that is joyful, and not that is depleted and that you need to drag around. And then we have autonomy. This one is funny because if you don't meet me, paradoxically, you're safe for me to have. Right? We like to be independent. We like people who are independent. We like also people to need us, but not too much. So autonomy is very important. And the last one, coherence. Well, we want to spend time with people who walk their talk. Once again, our mind is really good at detecting fake things. And so people who just are full of shit, we're not attractive to them for sure. Can be a facade, but sooner or later we see through that. And so I think by building those different attributes, creating a great life for yourself, being a person that people want to be around with because you're just cool. And that's how we become attractive. So really as a side effect and not as a direct goal.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. We have gone over time a little bit. What I would like to do is go out to the audience here for a couple of questions. If anyone has something burning within them that they would like to ask one of the three here. Can we pass this down to the back? We've only got time for 2 questions. We'll try to keep them brief-ish, yes? And if you got any follow-up questions, I do recommend that you come and connect with any of these. Tristan, these people, I probably should say, Sarah, or Francois. Yes.
Lovely panel and lovely evening. How do you think about competition as it relates to attraction?
Who is it for specifically?
Anybody.
So ask the question again.
How do you think about competition as it relates to attraction?
We would like it.
I have mixed feelings about this myself, like as an individual in the dating scene. Competition, not my favorite feeling. But one of the first thoughts that comes to mind is that when perceiving others as attractive or not, I personally find competition that's rooted in like insecurity and scarcity, I find it very unattractive. And I think that you can feel that in romantic contexts, in like business contexts. If someone's pitching me something and they feel desperate, I find competition in that sense unattractive, of really trying to take something instead of letting it flow naturally. As far as being competitive, I don't know if it's not in my nature or something I avoid. I will leave that open to something that I would actually like to explore more. If like, do I avoid competition to protect myself and protect myself from maybe rejection or failure or not being chosen? Or am I just not such a competitive girl? So I don't have an answer to that one, but I just want to put it out there to anybody else who's had similar feelings. But that's what comes to mind.
Yeah.
I find competition very attractive, actually. And there are two kinds of competition, I would say. But if I see someone who really wants to go all in the whole time, and I'm very competitive as a person, so I do relate. But I found like, wow, there's so much fire, there's so much ambition, so much grit, so much resilience, so much like, yeah, let's do this. Now there is the unhealthy or toxic competition where I just need to prove myself that I'm good enough. I just need to beat others, so I value myself. I don't think this is really attractive. But I think someone who wants to give it all the whole time, that's pretty attractive to me.
Is one answer? Sure.
I live in a competitive zone, like going out and talking to girls, especially here in Canggu Beach. There's a lot of dating coaches. There's a lot of guys doing approaches. There's a lot of guys practicing the art. And I personally love competition. Like there's two sides to it. You're on the side that's losing or you're on the sides that winning. And a lot of people look at the side that's losing and they think, oh, it's not worth it to make it up to the point where it is that you're winning. But once you get a taste of victory, once you get a taste of like, the testosterone kicks in, the primal drive, I love it. I go crazy for it. And I love seeing somebody kick my ass in competition because it's like, oh, I gotta get better. There's no hiding away from it. Like, I encourage everybody in here to try jujitsu because there's no lying when it comes to like a grappling combat sport. You find out really quickly what you're made of, and that competition bleeds over into 80 different parts of life. So if you're on the side of competition that's winning, love it. If you're in the side of competitions that's losing, get to the side that's winning. So.
All right, one last question from the audience. All right, should we just wrap it up? If you would love to come and chat. Okay, one more. We've got a couple of yawns in the audience, so we'll wrap it up.
Hi, thank you so much for sharing your perspectives on being attractive, first of all. What I want to ask is, when I listen how you share what you think on being attractive, it's sometimes easier to say those things than actually being that version of yourself in your real life, in your day-to-day life. Do you have any tactics how to remind yourself that what's important is to be yourself? Let's say, for example, before you go on a date, like do you go in front of the mirror and talk to yourself, and do you remind yourself what's actually important in order to be the attractive person?
I think that one's for Sarah, is it?
I want to go first.
Was it for anyone?
To all of, yeah, everybody.
I really think that if you work hard on building a life you love, you don't need to say any kind of stuff in front of the mirror. You are it. You don't perform it, you become it. And that's the work that we do every single day. And of course, it's not like, it's easy to say, build competence, build coherence, build autonomy. No, it takes years to get there. But I really think when you are living that, it's just natural. As I said, it's a side effect. It's not something you pursue, it's something you are. That's how I see it. I guess you might have more tactics for it.
You want to go with me?
Go ahead, please.
Okay. I think it's a choice. I think to the person who spoke earlier about joy, I really resonated with that because I choose to wake up in the morning and feel joy, or to feel attractive, or to feel capable. If I have sales calls I want to close high tickets on, I choose to feel confident in that moment. And if I want to have a good day and not be anxious, because I used to be a crazy anxious girl, I choose that. And I think that there's a level of like self-empowerment that's required of you. It's almost like a discipline to choose that every day. It's not just a live in la la land, feel happy and confident all the time. One of the things that makes it easier is I'm not such an analytical mind, but I choose to kind of look at it as like data. Like, what is the data, for example, kind of similar to what Tristan shared as well, actually, of like, what's the data if I'm nervous for this first date because this guy is really cool and really hot, that I've been on first dates before and it was okay, or I've spoken to people I was really attracted to and it was all right. And I try to choose the confidence or the joy or the feeling attractive by reminding myself that I've already been such in the past. So I do think it's a mindset shift, but I also think you can bring in a little bit of the habit of bringing up that data and reminding yourself who you are and what you're already capable of, not in the future, but in the past.
Beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. To answer shortly, it's part of the game. One thing that I love about self-doubt is that you deal with it, you deal with it, you deal with it, I deal with it, that person you're going on a date with deals with it. So when I feel it, I know the other person feels it too. And now it becomes a game of, ooh, who's going to succumb to it? Who's going to be more nervous? And then when you can play the game like that, I'll tell you a brief story about an acid trip that I had in 2016. I was working for Coachella, take 2 tabs of acid. They give me a big villa to stay in by myself in Palm Desert. I have a crazy trip. I'm stressing. There's so much doubt inside of my mind. And I'm taking a shower, and I could see myself in the mirror stressing while taking the shower. And I look, and I just start cracking up laughing, just hysterically. Because as we all know, we've created this game that we live in, like this universe that we have constructed. We constructed it so well that we forgot that we constructed it. And we're playing the game, and the game is so good that we forgot that we created the game. So that doubt and that fear that you feel, you made that, and it's part of the game. So now you just got to play it. So.
Thank you so much. What an epic way to wrap it up. Can we give these 3 a round of applause one more time? If you'd love to continue the conversation, the invitation is there to come and speak to them. Again, as we wrap up here this evening, please stick around as long as you like. We're going to have music, we're going to have food, maybe, and we're going to have drinks as well. Please continue the conversations and come back again next month. Thank you so much.